This is an Inbound Logistics AI presentation. As part of its long-standing commitment to logistics and supply chain education for both enterprises and students, Inbound Logistics is debuting its new IL Education series. This informative content, voiced by IL AI Audio, helps practitioners better understand key concepts and trending topics in supply chain management and sharpen their knowledge of all things logistics. In this latest installment, we break down the sustainable supply chain.
You know, when you're onto something big, but need that extra push to really make it work, that's us today. Diving deep into these reports on building a business case for sustainable supply chains. We're not just talking about, slapping a green label on things.
Right.
This is about real, tangible value for the bottom line.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about now, right? Sustainability.
Yeah.
It's not just like a nice to have anymore or some PR thing. It's really about building a better business.
Yeah.
More resilient, more profitable.
Okay.
So smarter, frankly.
Let's jump right in with the question I'm sure is on every executive's mind listening.
Yeah.
Where's the ROI in all of this? Where's that concrete return?
Well, your sources actually hit a really good point right at the beginning,
Okay.
talking about these 3 pillars of a sustainable supply chain. Green, transparent, and circular, and how each of those translates directly to a business advantage.
I'm almost more intrigued by this circular supply chain, I'll admit. It sounds a little like a magic trick, right? Turning waste into profit.
It's not magic, but it can feel like it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Instead of treating waste as like a sunk cost,
Right.
imagine if you could turn that into a valuable resource.
Yeah.
One of the reports you shared had an example of a textile manufacturer who went fully closed loop,
Yeah.
reusing over 80% of their water and textile waste.
Wow.
They ended up saving millions of dollars annually just from that.
Just from that one chain.
Yeah, and it's not even just about saving on disposal costs at that point.
Right.
It's really a fundamental shift
Yeah.
in how you think about the entire operation. It's like bigger than that even.
Yeah.
It's a whole different way of looking at it.
It forces you to look at your entire operation through a new lens, this sustainability thing.
Totally. And that's where the other 2 pillars, like the green and the transparent, they come in.
Okay.
You had that article, I think it was about a tech company.
Yeah.
They revamped their whole sourcing, went for ethically mined minerals for their devices.
Right.
That obviously played really well with, consumers who care about the environment.
Right.
But it also, massively reduced their risk.
Because if you're relying on one source for anything,
Exactly.
especially something as essential as the raw materials,
Totally.
it's risky.
Built-in risk right there.
Yeah.
And this is where doing things sustainably becomes like a hedge against that volatility. So you're diversifying your sourcing, you're all about the ethical labor practices,
Right.
and you're transparent about how you do everything.
Yeah.
So it's not just avoiding bad press, which, let's be honest,
Right.
nobody wants that.
Yeah, nobody wants the bad headline.
Exactly, but more importantly, you're building trust, especially with the younger generations coming up.
Oh, yeah, they can sniff out a phony in a second.
Oh, instantly.
They do their research.
They know when you're just trying to game it.
They really do, yeah. And there was a stat in one of these reports, I think it might have been Nielsen actually,
Yeah.
that just drove this home for me.
Which one was that?
I think it was something like 73% of millennials would pay more
Yes.
for a sustainable product.
That's the one. That's huge.
Huge. It makes you wonder how much money are companies leaving on the table right now
It's got to be a
by
lot.
not fully embracing this.
Absolutely.
And it's not just customers, right? This has got to be huge for attracting talent, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the people you want working for you,
Yeah, especially now.
they care about this stuff.
They want to work for companies that share their values,
Makes sense.
It's not just about the paycheck anymore.
Right, totally.
So when you build that reputation for being sustainable,
Yeah,
you become a magnet for that top-tier talent.
makes perfect sense. But okay, let's be real.
Okay.
This all sounds amazing. In theory, the numbers add up.
Right.
But actually overhauling your entire supply chain,
Yeah.
that's no easy task, right?
Yeah.
We're talking disruptions, costs up front.
It can feel overwhelming, for sure.
Where do you even start?
Well, thankfully, that's where the practical advice in some of these sources comes in.
Okay, good.
One of the reports actually broke it down, step by step,
Okay.
starting with a really thorough audit of your current supply chain.
Right. So understand where you're at now.
Exactly. Like, that's your baseline.
Baseline. Yeah.
And from there, you can figure out those quick wins.
Okay.
Like, are there any areas where maybe you can tweak your logistics,
Right.
cut down on fuel consumption?
Okay.
Can you use different packaging, something more sustainable?
Right. Right.
Those little changes, they can have a big ripple effect, actually.
Yeah. It's like proof of concept. You can show that it works.
Exactly. It builds momentum, too, you know?
Some wins on the board.
People get excited about it.
Yeah. Okay. So start small, build momentum.
Exactly.
Now what?
Then you scale it up.
Okay.
And that's where tech comes in big time.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Right. Like AI platforms that are fine-tuned for sourcing or
Yeah.
for identifying risk, and even like modeling how different sustainability initiatives will affect your bottom line.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, and one of the papers, it was all about blockchain
Right.
and how companies are using it to like track a product's entire life cycle.
Right. From raw materials to...
Start to finish.
Wow. And that transparency, that's got to be huge.
Huge, not just from an ethical standpoint either.
Right.
It builds trust with the consumer.
For sure. Like they always say, sunlight's the best disinfectant.
Exactly. And the best part, these technologies, they're getting better and cheaper all the time.
That's what I like to hear.
It's true. Even smaller companies, they can get in on this.
So to wrap this up for our listeners, the people making the big decisions,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway here?
It boils down to this. A sustainable supply chain that's not just checking boxes, it's about the future of your business.
Okay. I like that.
It's about mitigating risk, attracting investors, building your brand.
Attracting talent. We talked about that.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's about appealing to consumers and employees who, frankly, they expect this now.
It's not a bonus anymore. It's expected.
Exactly.
It's table stakes.
Right.
I like that. So it's not just a moral thing.
No.
It's a business imperative.
100%. And I think the companies that really grasp that,
Yeah.
the ones that see this as an opportunity,
Not a burden.
right, they're the ones who are going to be leading the pack in the next few years, for sure.
I love that. A future where, like, doing good and doing well go hand in hand.
The dream.
The dream. Thanks for diving deep with us today, everyone. We hope this has been helpful for you. And remember, the future is sustainable. Make it yours.
Join the conversation on this topic by clicking the link in the show notes or visiting inboundlogistics.com.